Hey, my fellow Americans, this is God's Comic Brad Stine, and here's a question. How many of you have friends right now that believe completely different than you do about the world? And also, how can you stand them? Let's find out if you even should. Come on in. As a conservative, I am much more invigorated by making friends and acquaintances with people who disagree with me religiously, politically, culturally, because that is the only place where interesting conversations can take place. I mean, what fun is it having a bunch of people nod their heads in agreement every time you open your mouth, which can then give you the illusion that you're not only actually profound, but are also always right. That is what is known as an echo chamber and has become the de rigueur go-to from the left, not to mention most mainstream media outlets in regards to their point of view. This is by far the greatest travesty to have become the new norm in American intellectual engagement. Of course, on many occasions, I've spoken to you about the reality that leftism creates a cultural paradigm that always supports feelings over facts. This is why you'll often hear people who don't know any better frame the purpose of political correctness as simply an expectation that people are to treat others respectfully and without disdain. The fact that the golden rule has been the fabric of cultural courtesy for eons somehow was missed by these progressive leftists who apparently believe they stumbled upon some holy commandment that only they have been heretofore able to embrace and understand, and now are duty-bound to enlighten the rest of us. Well, they have on numerous occasions happened upon my site and leave a comment like, "Oh, I see. So you don't get to marginalize minorities anymore. That must be tough." And of course, much crasser versions of that tone. But there are two ideas that need to be examined here. First is the continuous misunderstanding of what political correctness actually is. That's the first. For anyone in this day and age to be so uneducated on this fastidiously documented strategy, to utilize these methods to undermine the West's freedoms as well as capitalistic economies, it's simply lazy and foolish. To not know by now that political correctness was germinated in the Frankfurt School in Germany to formulate strategies to implement Marxism into Western cultural institutions and into our thought, and to try and destroy the Western foundations of Christianity as a moral compass. The family had to be destroyed as the institution of cultural cohesiveness, the love of country as a bedrock stability of commonality in order to give people living in America from all over the world a stable, shared respect for our national creed, and to undermine even the unique gender differences created by God himself with the holy, sacred duty of procreation, and then the instilling of the uniqueness of mother and father, male and female, into the child as they grow. There is simply no excuse anymore for not understanding what we are up against as Americans. Let me make this as clear as I can. If you subscribe to political correctness to drive your behavior, your thoughts, and your philosophy, then whether you know it or not, whether you like it or not, and whether you believe it or not, you are participating in the dismantling and the destruction, literally, of the United States of America as originally envisioned by the Founding Fathers, period. Secondly, as I started this episode, if you believe that following your feelings, which are completely and utterly subjective to you and you alone, is not only the basis for how you define reality, but even more damaging and dangerous to me is that you demand I subscribe to it as well, makes your demagoguery as blatant and dictatorial as is possible from one sentient, autonomous human free agent to another, period. So let me make this as simple as possible. You need to take a moment to do some introspection. and examine if you are able to engage people you disagree with by using facts or feelings. Do you respond with insults or information? And can you engage in debate, or do you engage in dismissal? The only shot this nation has to try and reclaim its moorings is if we get Americans to grow up, study their history, and practice the fine art of civil discourse. Each one of us will be responsible for our own discipline. Take this very serious, my friend. And don't forget, your kids are watching. Oh, yeah. And so is China. This is God's Comic, Brad Stine. PC free is our only shot at liberty. I know you probably want to cancel me and unfriend me because you didn't feel right in that last episode, but for those of you who are still sticking around and love truth and love to be a free American, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, Brad Stine Has Issues. Please go and share it, and go to my Facebook fan page and like and follow it, and let's build this thing up. I'm going to continue to fight this fight, take all the slings and arrows they throw at me for you, but I need you to help me by joining me and praying for me and subscribing to all of my stuff. And if you don't, I'll cancel you! I'm kidding. No, I'm not. Yeah.